In December 2022, the most powerful search company on Earth declared an internal emergency. Google's CEO, Sundar Pichai, called it a code red. He pulled engineers from their holidays. He summoned the company's founders out of retirement. He restructured entire teams overnight. The threat wasn't a rival search engine. It wasn't a government regulator. It wasn't even a company most people had heard of. It was a chatbot, built by a small non-profit startup. That had been live for exactly 5 days. That chatbot was ChatGPT. And here's the twist nobody saw coming. Exactly 3 years later, almost to the week, the positions flipped completely. Now it was OpenAI's CEO Sam Altman sending the emergency memo. Now it was OpenAI declaring code red. Now it was ChatGPT under threat. From Google. This is the story of the most expensive, most consequential, and most unpredictable technology war in history. And nobody knows how it ends. Google's worst nightmare. To understand why ChatGPT terrified Google so deeply, you have to understand what Google actually is. Google is not a technology company. Not really. Google is an advertising company that built the world's most powerful technology to serve that advertising. In 2021, advertising accounted for more than 80% of Alphabet's total revenue. The entire empire, the search engine, YouTube, Android, Gmail, Maps, every single product, existed to put ads in front of human eyeballs. And the way those ads worked was simple. You type a question into Google. Google shows you 10 blue links. You click one, Google charges the advertiser. Repeat. Billions of times a day. That model had worked flawlessly for 20 years. It had made Google one of the most profitable companies in human history. But it only worked if you kept clicking. ChatGPT didn't give you 10 blue links. It gave you the answer. Directly. Instantly. No clicking required. Behind the scenes, Google engineers were frustrated. They warned that Google's culture of perfectionism and fear of product failures had slowed down their AI teams, while OpenAI was shipping updates like it was in early-stage startup mode. Weekly, sometimes daily. Impact. The fear inside Google wasn't just competitive. It was existential. If people stopped clicking search results, the entire advertising model collapsed. Every dollar of Google's $80 billion in annual profit was suddenly at risk. Google declared a red alert in its teams, with some fearing the company was approaching a moment big Silicon Valley companies dread, the arrival of a technological shift that could disrupt everything. Mobilize. So Google did what any company facing an existential threat does. It fought back. Google strikes back and stumbles. Google's response to ChatGPT was fast and catastrophic. In February 2023, Google rushed out its own AI chatbot called Bard. They announced it in a promotional video. In that video, Bard got a factual question wrong. On camera. In the announcement video. Alphabet's stock dropped 10% in a single day. $140 billion of market value evaporated in hours. But Google kept pushing. By late 2023, Bard was renamed Gemini. New model, new branding, more investment. Google poured billions into catching up. On paper, it looked impressive. But in practice, Gemini stumbled out of the gate. Users complained about weird outputs. Developers found hallucinations. And unlike OpenAI, Google still hadn't figured out how to productize Gemini beyond flashy demos. Impact. Then came what may be the most embarrassing moment in Google's history. Google rolled out AI overviews, AI-generated summaries at the top of search results. The idea was brilliant. The execution was not. Within days, screenshots went viral showing Google's AI recommending users eat rocks for minerals, suggesting people add glue to pizza to keep the cheese from sliding off, telling users to run with scissors. The internet had a field day. Google's AI had become a meme. Meanwhile, OpenAI kept shipping. GPT-4, GPT-4o, voice mode, image generation, code interpreter. Every few weeks, something new. Every few weeks, another reason for people to open ChatGPT instead of Google. By early 2024, ChatGPT had reached 100 million weekly users, then 200 million, then 300 million. Google's nightmare was becoming real. The twist nobody expected here is where the story gets genuinely surprising. Because while everyone was watching Google panic about ChatGPT, inside OpenAI, a very different kind of anxiety was building. OpenAI's model lead had shrunk from 6 months ahead of competitors in 2024 to potentially zero by late 2025. World Google had been playing a longer game. While the world mocked Gemini's early failures, Google's engineers were quietly fixing everything. They had something OpenAI didn't: an almost unlimited budget, the world's best AI infrastructure, and a secret weapon that nobody in the industry fully appreciated. Google builds its own AI chips, called Tensor Processing Units, TPUs. They don't pay the NVIDIA tax that every other AI company pays. Industry analysis suggests Google obtains AI compute power at roughly 20% of the cost incurred by those purchasing high-end NVIDIA hardware. World. That cost advantage compounded over time. Every dollar OpenAI spent on NVIDIA chips, Google spent 20 cents on equivalent compute. At the scale these companies operate, billions of dollars in infrastructure spending, that gap is enormous. By late 2025, Gemini 3 launched. And this time, there were no rocks, no glue pizza, no embarrassing screenshots. Google's Gemini 3 topped benchmarks. Its ecosystem grew from 450 million to 650 million monthly active users in just 3 months. Social Pilot. And then something remarkable happened. On December 2nd, 2025, Sam Altman sent an internal memo to OpenAI employees declaring a company-wide code red. Exactly 3 years earlier, almost to the week, Google CEO Sundar Pichai had used the identical term when ChatGPT threatened to make Google search obsolete. Social Pilot. The disruptor had become the disrupted. The real stakes. To understand why this war matters beyond tech gossip, you need to understand what's actually being fought over. This isn't about chatbots. It isn't about who gives better answers to trivia questions. This is about who controls the interface between human beings and all the world's information. For the past 20 years, that interface was Google Search. The company that owned that interface collected $230 billion in revenue in 2024 alone. The next interface, AI, could be worth more. Much more. Success for OpenAI would establish ChatGPT as an essential interface layer between users and the internet, capturing massive value. Failure means OpenAI remains dependent on subscriptions without defensible advantages against better-resourced competitors. World. And the competitors are everywhere now. It's not just Google and OpenAI. Anthropic is growing fast, funded by Amazon and Google simultaneously. Meta is releasing open-source AI models that anyone can use for free. DeepSeek emerged from China and shocked the industry with performance that rivals the best American models at a fraction of the cost. Microsoft has invested over $13 billion into OpenAI while simultaneously building its own AI products. OpenAI raised $6.6 billion in October 2024, the largest venture capital round in history, but plans to lose $5 billion in 2024 alone. World. That's not a typo. The most valuable AI startup in the world, backed by the biggest fundraise in venture capital history, is burning $5 billion a year. The question isn't whether AI will change everything. It already has. The question is, who will still be standing when the dust settles? Lesson. What this war is really about, the Google versus ChatGPT story, looks like a technology competition. But at its core, it's the same story that's played out in every major technology shift in history. An incumbent with everything to lose, a challenger with nothing to protect, and a moment where the rules of the game change faster than anyone can adapt. Google built the most dominant business in internet history on the back of one simple insight. People need to find information, and whoever helps them find it fastest wins. For 20 years, that insight was unassailable. ChatGPT didn't find information faster. It eliminated the need to find it at all. That's not a better version of Google. That's a different game entirely. And Google, to its credit, recognized the threat faster than Blockbuster recognized Netflix. It declared code red in December 2022. It restructured. It invested. It shipped Gemini. And by late 2025, it had pulled back to parity and in some benchmarks surged ahead. But here's the uncomfortable truth that nobody in Silicon Valley wants to say out loud. Both Google and OpenAI might lose. Because the most dangerous player in this war isn't the one with the best chatbot. It's the one with the most data, the most users, and the most surfaces to deploy AI across. And that company, with 3 billion users across WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook, is Meta, giving its AI away for free. The AI war is just beginning, and the winner might be none of the companies currently fighting it. That's the Collapse Files. A new documentary drops every day. Businesses built, broken, and buried. Subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss tomorrow's story.